Right, Germany question 3b, the interpretations difference. Let's have a look. So, here's one that I made earlier. We're going to have a look at this one here. Now, you can see, if we're looking at the top, we've got two interpretations. In the exam, they don't quite look like this in terms of how they're laid out, but much of a muchness in terms of the idea. Now, the first interpretation here is from 2009. The second interpretation we can instantly see is from 1971. For the minute, that's not critical. This might come into play, for example, on question 3c, but for now, we're looking mainly here at these two main chunks of the text. Now, interpretation 1 says, the greatest threat from within the Nazi party, Rome. Leader of the SA, genuine threat to Hitler's position as leader. Rome is commander of a large organisation of men. Rome favoured second revolution with more socialist policies. The purge was a result of a power struggle between Rome and people like Goering. Now, the second one here says smoothness with which the murders of 30th of June, this is the night of the long knives, carried out. Proof Rome plot did not exist, was not imminent. No resistance encountered. Most victims unsuspectingly surrendered voluntarily. Only shots fired those of the executioners. Now, the question is asking us about the main different views on the night of the long knives. So, what are the two key differences? Well, quite straightforward. This one says Rome is a threat. This one says there was no threat. Sometimes when we talk about the whole positive and negative interpretations, that can be a little bit of a mess because it can be a little bit more complicated about this. But if we were thinking about the night of the long knives, which one suggests that there was a reason for the night of the long knives, i.e. positive, will be interpretation 1, negative interpretation 2. But this is not what the question is asking, really. It's not asking about positive and negative. Positive and negative is an easy way to just split the two sources apart. We're looking for the key difference, the way that they take on this idea. And the difference is that interpretation 1 is saying that Rome was most definitely a threat. He had support, he had a willingness to try and effectively form a second revolution, whereas interpretation 2 says the fact that the SA by and large just completely surrendered shows that there was no plot and that nobody knew what the hell was going on. So how do we put this into practice? How are we going to do it? So let's start. First things first, we know that we have got, let's make a little quick reminder to ourselves, interpretation 1, Rome is a threat, and interpretation 2 says Rome not a threat. That's our just quick park that idea because we know what we're doing. So how do we answer this question? Well, it's only 4 marks, so we don't really need to labour the point. In fact, this video is going to be longer than the amount of time that we really need to spend on this. So we simply phrase it like this. Interpretation 1 believes that, and now the question's asking us about the night of the long knives, so believes that the night of the long knives was a response to a genuine threat by Rome and the SA. Now, next part. This is shown by, we need a quote. Let's go back, have a little look, see what we can find in the quote. What can we say that definitely shows that it was a threat? Here we go. Rome as leader of the SA was a genuine threat to Hitler's own position as leader. Let's have that one then. So this is shown by, let's put this as the quote. Rome as leader text, history joke for you there, was a genuine threat to Hitler's own position as leader. Okay, that solves that problem. What do we need to do? Well, we need to talk about, obviously, interpretation 2 now. So, whereas, a little bit of difference. Interpretation 2 believes that, word from the Christians, the night of the long knives was not justified. Having to think on our feet here. By the fact there was no threat. This is shown by the quote. Right, need to go and look for another quote. What can we go for? Well, we could have a look. We could take literally the first bit if we wanted here. The smoothness with which the murders were carried out is powerful proof there was no Rome plot was imminent. Or we could have many victims unsuspectingly surrendered voluntarily, believing it was a huge mistake. We could have that one, perhaps. So we could choose that one. I probably would choose the first one because of the fact it's quite explicit, but the second one might be just as good. So let's go with that one. So, the smoothness with which the murders were carried, ooh, it fitted, yes, out and 3 dots because we've missed out a bit there, is powerful. Please make sure you get your quotes right. Don't miss out bits. Proof that no Rome plot existed. Oh, sorry, was imminent. See, there we are, made a mistake. Make sure you don't do it. Double check, keep an eye on what you're doing. So that's it. If you think about it, 1 mark there, 1 mark there, 1 mark there, 1 mark there. Simple as that. It's only 4 marks. It's not worth sweating about.